Hear the story of my life, heartaches and pain, weeping at night, then laughing at dawn.
Sharing my joy, victories and hope. A brighter day has come. It's for you and for me.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Jessica Kayanja show. We bring you real life stories of people who have weathered the storms of life and would like to share their triumphs and their trials with us. And today's topic, transitioning from a poor rape victim to being one of the world's greatest HIV advocates. For those of you who think that you have gone through too much in life, for those of you who sit down and pity yourselves and feel you can never get anything right, when you listen to the tenacity, the resilience, the strength in which this girl, who was only 15 years old, carried the atrocity committed, the grace and the ability to transform a situation of fate into a story of triumph. I want us to welcome our guest today. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you, madam.
Please tell us your names.
My name is Kayanja Jacqueline, and I work with Action Group for Health, Human Rights, and HIV.
Wow, we are so honored to have you on the program today. Thank you so much for fitting us into your busy schedule.
Thank you too for the opportunity.
Now you have traveled the world. You were one of the first people, one of the first youth in the world to come out and share your story and advocate for the health of people that are battling this dreaded illness. But before we go into all that, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you end up in this predicament? How old were you? And then we will continue from there.
Okay, like I said, I'm Jackie Kayanja, and I work with Action Group for Health, Human Rights, and HIV. And actually, the executive director was one of the people that made me visible into this world, because I never knew that this world can never give anything good to people like us. So I was born in 81. I made 40 in February.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah, so I grew up with my stepmom. I was left by my mom when I was only 2 months.
Wow.
And she wanted to go back to school, but because by that time schools were being headed by nuns, when they used to do a lot of tests about on women and girls, actually on girls, because they never accepted women to go back to school. Then when they tested her, she passed all tests, and she was the best in her school. So she had best grades, but only because of milk in the breasts, she was unable to proceed with education, although she was passionate about education. So that made her hate me. And she saw like her vision was dead. And she saw as if she didn't have anything to do with me. So she left me with my grandmother, who had other daughters. So together, and my grandmother was a widow. And it was actually one of the reasons why they refused her, that when they asked her where she had left me, she was like, she left me with the mother who was a widow. So they told her she can't leave the mother to suffer because of the problems she caused to herself. But also how she was raped to get me.
Wow.
So she had the trauma of rape and now this trauma of failing, refusing her to continue with her education. And now all the anger was put on me.
And you were just a baby.
Yeah, so she abandoned me and left me with my grandmom. So I grew up with my grandmom and my aunties.
And how did...
Up to something like P7, then I went to my dad. Because my grandmom wanted me to study, but she didn't have money to pay for me. And my dad was a rich guy known in the whole place that he was capable. So that's why I was sent to my dad so that I can get better education. And that's how I joined a new family with its new experiences. Yes.
So you were taken as a young girl to your dad's home, and obviously your dad loves you. He wants you to have a good education, but you are now a stepdaughter.
Yes. Something I was so scared of, because I had always heard stories about stepmoms. So I was so scared of how this stepmama was joining her family would treat me. So I tried to, I was so quiet naturally. I started talking after joining the movement of HIV, but before I grew up as a reserved person, and actually all people I have grown up with and the schools I've gone to, most of them tell me that I was always reserved, I was always a loner, and some wanted to be my friends, but they used to fear how to approach me. Yeah, mainly that was how. So when I was in S2, I felt like life was, the experiences I was going through were too many. The abuses, the insults from both parents, yet they were based on myths or no evidence of something that they were claiming I had done.
So both your father and your stepmother.
Yeah, so my stepmom would tell my dad that I've done A, B, C, D. But I never did what they were saying. Because even there's a time when they were telling my dad I have many boyfriends in the village. But I didn't even know any boy, or actually anyone in our neighborhood, because I would only leave home, going to school. From school, come back home. I didn't know anyone in the village. And all the people they were talking about, I had no idea. Even I tried to look for them, I failed to get them. So, and when you're an adolescent, there is different adolescents react differently to different things. Some are rebellious, and that was my type. Others are reserved, and others learn from those experiences. But for my case, I was rebellious and reserved at the same time. So when I saw different things were being heaped on me, yet I had no idea about them. A lot of things, like the one day my stepmom made me carry 42 bunches of bananas because it had rained, it was a windy rain, and I was sick. I had a lot of headache, so when I was resting, he found me resting, and she made me carry 42 bunches.
From the garden to the house?
They had
and how old were you by then? How old were you by then?
By then I was in S3.
And how old?
So I was 16. So I was like, what is this? Sometimes he would dig the whole day. Sometimes.
Was it just you or her children as well?
Whenever I would go back for holidays, maids would want to ask for leave, saying that whenever I come from school, they suffer. Because sometimes she would want to hide whatever she's doing, that we are doing it together with the others. But the people whom I was staying with felt the difference. Yeah, so, but every experience, I think, is there to groom us and to help us grow and make better decisions and also grow into better people. So, before I was blaming her for whatever she made me go through, and probably she had negative reasons as to why she made me go through what I was going through. But it helped me to grow. It helped me to become a better person. Because it is that strength I got from childhood, the hardship I went through, is the same reason as to why I'm resilient up to today.
So now, what happened? How were you raped? And how did you encounter the rape?
So one day she told my stepmom that, she told my dad that I was with some guys whom I had no idea about. And I feel like, why do these people keep on putting men on me? What do they want from me? But also there are so many other things that were happening. So I said, let me leave this place.
So you packed and ran away?
I decided to go home, to go to my grandma's place. Because it is the only place I call my home. Not even my daddy's home, not even my mama's home.
But because your grandmother was there for you.
Because that's where my foundation of being alive is. Yeah, so I ended up leaving and I went to my grandma's place. So my grandma, because she wanted me to study, I told her so many things that I was going through at home. So she was like, Jackie, you have to be strong, at least study and you finish, then you can go wherever you want. I said, me, I can't. So she wanted to force me to my daddy's home. So I escaped from her and that's how I went with a friend to their home. But I didn't know that's where I would go through so many rape attempts, more than 20, I think. But this one, because it was a bit far from home, there's no way I could run back home. I needed transport to take me back home. But I didn't have the transport, and she was the one who was taking care of me now. At their home, food was not enough. We could eat like once a day. I was very hungry. We had not eaten anything, and it was around 4. So when someone came and said he was taking us both out to buy us some food. So for me, inside I was excited because I never knew, and even there's no man that had ever told me anything to do with love or relationship. So I was very, very
naive and innocent.
Yeah. I really had no idea even what men do with women. Especially because
and of course at 16 years, yeah. So now you go for the dinner, and then what happens?
So we entered the car. So when we were about to set off, the girl was like, let me pick something from the house. So when she went inside, this one drove off.
Oh, so the girl, your friend had planned to leave you with this man.
I really don't know, but I think so. So that's how we went together. Then I kept on telling him, why is he leaving me? Then he was like, why is he leaving the girl? He kept saying the girl is going to find us there because she was delaying us. Then he drove, and he went out of town and drove, joined some place which was bushy, and continued driving. So I started hitting the car, because even by then it was my first time to be in these small cars other than taxis where everybody is. But in a car, in these personal cars, it was my first time to be in such a car. So I didn't know how to open it, whether they lock it. I had no idea that a car can be locked and you can't get out until the driver is the one who opens for you. I had no idea. So he drove. It looks like he was taking me somewhere like Kasese. Because now, when I have grown up and I remember I passed that road, I realized it was going to Kasese, and he was driving, was not stopping, and he was driving for a long time. So when I kept on hitting the car and making noise, I didn't even know that at that time, I didn't know that when you make noise in the car, the sound doesn't come out. So then for him, he started laughing that I'm wasting my energy. So, but when I kept hitting the car, he said, you are annoying me, I'm even going to throw you in this bush. Because there is a long bush around that road going to Kasese. So he turned and drove back. When I was already sweating, crying, and so when we reached in the middle of that bush, remember he has driven for many hours, now it is getting dark when he's still driving. And now where we are, it is a deserted place. So he stopped the car and demanded me to get out. So I said, why? I can't get out when I'm in the middle of the bush. So he came and opened the door, and I even had no idea that the seat for the car can be bent. So he bent the seat.
So you were already lying down?
No, he forced me to lie down.
Yes, I mean, of course, if he bends the seat, then you're already lying down.
You know, when I saw the seat going backwards, I sat like this straight. Yeah, then he forced me to lie, but of course I couldn't just lie there. We started fighting and fighting until he was sweating because I was almost defeating him. But I think he was just a rapist because he had a knife. So I have a big scar around here, and I never had even any idea that I can get HIV. Before the symptoms, I got a lot of wounds because remember it was my very first time. So,
and it was forceful.
And it was forceful, and he had so many infections.
Oh, he was already living a useless life.
I think. So
you got a lot of
week,
STDs.
Yes. So after like a week. Oh no, that same day when I was raped, when he drove me back home and dumped me at home when I was like I had blacked out. So he just went and threw me in the compound of that girl where she had picked me. And now...
When you told your friend, what did she say?
First, she thought I was dead because of how I was lying there amidst blood.
She did not attempt to go to the police or anything?
No.
And she knew this man. This man was her, you know, her associate of some sort.
No. Yes, I think she knew, but by then I didn't.
So you didn't tell her I've been raped?
No, she saw that I was raped. And even when she asked me, the only thing I could do was to cry. So I demanded to go back home. I told her, you have to look for transport. I have to go back home. Because I was like, even if I was being tortured at home,
at least you were safe.
But the fact that now, if I'm going to go through this when I'm with you, I'm not ready for this. So she had to find a way. She had a boyfriend by then. Me, I didn't know. Then she gave me transport. I went. And when I went, I just went straight back home.
To your
And I
to your
said to
father
my
and your
dad,
stepmother.
I said, whatever you want to do in my heart, whatever you want to do, do it. But I'm going to die in here, in your house, not anywhere else. So after a week, when I was home, I kept getting itching, different things were developing which I didn't know. So my movement, of course, changed. And because of too much pain, of both the rape and the wounds and now the sicknesses, the infections I had got. So, and I will remember I have to hide it.
You didn't want your stepmother to find out?
Anyone, not even my dad was a very tough guy. So as I was hiding, I thought my dad had gone, had left home. So I walked freely. So I didn't know that my dad was seeing me through the curtain. Then he said, like a roaring lion, I heard a voice, Jackie, come here.
Why are you walking like that?
Why are you walking like that? And the moment I heard the voice like this, I just had to to put the legs together so that he doesn't remember that pain. Whenever I would put the legs together, I would feel pain. And also I began bleeding. So he took me to my bed and said, today I have to see what you're hiding. He took me to my bedroom and threw me on bed and said, you let your legs apart. I refused. Then he grabbed them with anger and put them apart. And that's when he saw what had happened to me. And then he also couldn't believe. He was like, what happened to you? I said I was raped. He instantly left everything else he was doing and drove me to the hospital. So I got that first treatment. But now I started getting different symptoms when I was at school. And I would get cough that doesn't get healed. I would get fevers all the time. So the time when I got fever and I went to the hospital, so I told the doctors to test me, to test everything. So they told me that I'm positive. I said, to hell with positive results, I cannot be. That was when I was in S4. So when I was I rejected the results and I continued studying without taking any medicine. So when I was in senior 5, that's when now more problems kept coming. I developed pneumonia. I started developing different asthma-like attacks. So in senior 6, when I had finished Form 6, that's when I got herpes zoster. I got herpes zoster in this side of the back.
Herpes zoster is what they called HCP.
So I was taken to the hospital. They gave me some medicine.
All this time does your stepmother know that you are positive?
Not yet.
She didn't know?
She didn't know.
Or you didn't tell your parents when you went for the test and they told you were positive? You kept quiet?
No, I rejected the results. I said, those can't be mine. Yeah, so I didn't even tell anyone because in my head,
so all they knew was that you were raped, but they didn't know you had contracted HIV.
And even to know that some parents are careless. My dad never bothered to know who raped me, where was I raped from, what step can he take to find the rapist. I think because he knew what he used to do when before. He said, I think that it is the same thing with other men. Girls and other men. Maybe that's why he didn't bother to take action after realizing that I was raped. Yeah, so sometimes
men also change a lot when they meet women, other women, so that could have added to that.
Yeah.
So so you find out you're HIV positive. You are getting all these symptoms and your parents don't know.
Yeah. And I'm doing heavy work at home. Because sometimes whenever I would go for holidays, maids would go. So I'm going to do all the work.
Or the moment the maids would see you, they would go because now you've come and you are
you are
the one who can handle all them.
They would come back.
So now you are doing all that work and yet you are sick. You have symptoms and you're quiet.
Yes. So during vacation, senior 6, I got an attack at night, and I got like I don't know how to call it.
Convulsion.
Like when you're stuck, like your body, like when it.
Oh yes, night paralysis.
Like paralysis. So I woke up around 3 in the night. I found I was paralyzed. I couldn't move anything. So I called my dad at night, and then of course the mom could always complain.
Your stepmom complained. Why is she calling?
So this one came, and they found that I couldn't even do anything. I had even urinated on myself. Yet I was a big girl.
You were completely paralyzed.
So they rushed me to Mbarara Hospital. Sorry, they put me on a bus to go and meet my sister who was staying in Mbarara, so that I can get treatment. But then when I reached Mbarara, my sister thought it was a joke because the paralysis, it had come for a short time and left me. So for her, she didn't see that experience. So for her, she thought I was fine. Maybe I was refusing to do housework at home. Maybe I was getting tired, and so she kept me in the house for over a week. And in that week,
she kept you in the house. She didn't inform the doctors.
She didn't inform anyone, not even my dad, to tell him that I had either gone or not gone to the hospital. So every day that passed, I advanced, the pain advanced. I had a lot of backache. I had a lot of neck pain, stiff. I had a lot of cough, a lot of fever. One of my cousins actually came and took me to a clinic, and they gave me an injection. This medicine that is sour, it is called what? That's the medicine they gave me. I almost died.
She thought you had malaria. So quinine.
Yeah, quinine.
And that has its own side effects as well.
Yes. So after like 5 days, one of my brothers came, and that's how they found out that I was really sick. So he called my sister to take me to the hospital. And when I reached there, I was almost dying because the doctor said I was remaining with about 2 hours to die.
What was this? What was the opportunistic disease then?
When they tested, they found I had
It's for you and for me.
Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Kayanja, and this is a viewership alert. I want to appreciate you for tuning into my YouTube channel. But again, I would like to warn you to watch out for an impersonator. There is someone online posing as me and soliciting money. This person has a Nigerian number. Because he's an impositor, his number might change anytime. It could be a Ugandan number, a UK number. That is definitely not me. I do not raise money. I do not raise money on Facebook. I do not raise money on YouTube. I do not solicit funds in the name of interpreting dreams or seeing people in dreams. That is a fraud. And if this person inboxes you and he has my picture and my name, raise an alarm, tell them off, and don't heed to their treachery. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying this program so far. Please like, comment, and subscribe to Pastor Jessica's YouTube channel. Oh, and don't forget to press the notification button so that you're notified whenever we upload a video. Also, you can follow Pastor Jessica on all of her social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under the handle of Pastor Jessica Kayanja. If you would like to contact Pastor Jessica Kayanja, please do so on 077 263-1603. And if you'd like to advertise with us, please don't hesitate to let us know. Okay, now let's get back to the show.
For you and for me.
What was this? What was the opportunistic disease then?
When they tested, they found I had meningitis. That's what was going to kill me. And he said.
So the whole week you had been at home with meningitis, and your parents.
She would leave me in the bed sleeping, knowing that I'm sick. But she would never bother to even ask how I slept.
And your parent, your father and your stepmother did not ask?
No.
Okay.
So I went to the hospital and spent there.
Before we go on, I would like to interject and speak to the parents, especially men that are demanding to take in their kids to live with their stepmothers. This is not the ideal, ordinary situation, but sometimes things like this can happen. And if your child is living with a stepmother, make sure you keep a keen eye. It is always better for a child that is under 18 to, to stay as legally stipulated under the mother's care, unless the mother is incapacitated in any form. This young lady was in her room for a whole week, and it's just by the grace of God that she stayed alive. Just continue.
So I spent a whole month in the hospital. But surprisingly, I was in the hospital alone.
There was no one taking care of you?
Yeah, it was the doctors who were taking care of me.
Wow. No one came from home?
So it was my dad that came and saw what was happening, and he was like, now you're the one who wants this girl to die, you go and be there with her in the hospital. Now he chased the stepmom to come and be with me in the hospital.
Saying you are the one who wants her to die, now you go and be there. What? I don't know what happens to men when they find, some women.
So she came, we were in the hospital together, but of course for her, she just came to sit and sleep and move around, not to take care of a patient like me. Because she had her own issues.
So let us fast forward because of the length of the program. I know the viewers are always telling me, you're cutting us short, you're cutting us short. We were only availed 45 minutes for this program, and we pray that, we'll be able to have much more time next time. But if we can just push it to an hour, well, thank God for that. You go through all this. How did you transition from this trauma, from this pain, from this embarrassment, from this hurt, to deciding to be a champion for the HIV people at that young age?
Actually, when it was confirmed that it's true, I'm now HIV positive.
When did your father find out you were HIV positive?
After that experience in the hospital.
Oh, okay, meningitis and, we connected.
Yeah, and now this stepsister came and looked at my file, and she was like, what she demanded from the doctors to know what I'm suffering from. And the doctors, instead of first finding out from me to know how to disclose to my family, the doctor just disclosed my status to her.
Oh dear, that was
and
wrong.
And now it was like good news to them.
To your they went talking everywhere.
Everywhere, to everyone. My sister called everyone and told them as if she's disclosing good news. Now everybody, their rejection was visible. Before they used to kind of pretend
that they could tolerate you.
Yeah, so now they told my dad, you can't continue paying for this kid. She's already dead. How many years is she around? Why are you going to waste a lot of money on this one? And now she's going to campus. That is a lot of money. And after 2 years she dies. Where will you get that money from? And you're even going to look for a place to rent because no one is going to accept her in our families.
They didn't want you to come back home. They had no idea that HIV is not airborne.
So they refused my dad from paying for me. So I actually stopped at senior 6. But then I said, now the medicine we are getting it from Barra and I'm from Rukonjiri. So I was like, my dad reached a point when he was like, tell them to find a way of getting your medicine. I'm not going to give you transport to go to Barra to get the medicine.
Wow.
That was 2003. So I was like, what? So if I don't get medicine,
how am I
and
going
again
to
you don't want me to study, what am I doing here?
There is no benefit
here.
in staying at my father's house.
Yes, I said I would be here if I was going to study or if I was going to get my drugs so that I stay alive from here. But since both of them are not there, I'm not also going to stay here. So I decided to leave home. In 2005, in January 11th, that's when I left home for good, because I had decided that no, even what I'm going through,
they will not stand with me, they will not help me, so there's absolutely no reason why I should have an allegiance to them. So now you leave home and you go where?
I didn't know anywhere I was going. I just went. So when I reached town, in our town in Rukonjiri, I met my cousin who works on a bus. I told him I'm going to Kampala, but I don't have transport. He said, then how are you going and where are you going? He said, just take me, I know where I'm going. But in actual sense, I didn't know where I was going. So he brought me, put me here. I started moving around and I really failed to connect. So I spent even 2 weeks on the streets when I was looking for where I can stay.
You would sleep on the streets?
Yeah, there is some bush somewhere. I didn't even know that in Kabalagala there. Because I just walked aimlessly and I didn't know the city, that this place is this or the other place is the other. Even I reached senior 6 when I didn't know what was being done in the lodge, because there's a time when they were almost raping me in front of a lodge. That when I reached the police, they asked me, where were you? Tell us the word that was written there. So I told them, I saw a word written like it is like lodge, but I don't know what lodge is. So the police laughed.
You are
a green villager.
A green villager.
Yeah, he laughed and said, hey, at your age, which class did you stop at? I said, senior 6. And he said, senior 6, you don't know what happens in a lodge. I said, I really don't know.
So you wander around in Kampala? So
I wandered around. I have even different spots because of mosquitoes around that place. But after I met someone who connected me for some small job in a casino. That's how I knew that now my life has begun. So from the casino...
So what were you doing in the casino?
I was a cashier. So
you don't need any credentials, I think, to be a cashier in the casino, except to know how to count money.
They train you how to count. So after that, I said I have to go back to school. I wrote an article in the newspapers.
Thank you for deciding that.
No, that had been my, I don't know why, like things to do with marriage. It has never come into my, even up to
you
now.
could have been a casino girl and decided to go and break a marriage or, you know, do all those things that they do. Yeah. But you chose education.
I really wanted to study. The only problem is that my family refused to take me to school.
So you write to the newspaper?
So I write an article in the newspapers. And I explained the ordeal I was going through.
You explained that you had been raped, you were HIV positive.
Yeah, and I was HIV positive, and my family had rejected
so you went
pay
public.
For me. So yeah, I didn't know that I was disclosing now.
You didn't know how far the newspaper would go.
Yeah, I was just looking for school fees. My main thing that was I was.
You thought it was
up.
like maybe 20 or 15 people who read the newspaper.
So I had no idea I had disclosed. So the whole world read. And my ED was one of those who got the newspapers and read the article and saw the trauma I was going through. Because by then, everything was still so fresh. Now I have forgiven my stepmom, I have forgiven everybody that hurt me. I didn't know that most of those things.
Just tell us your ED's name. Just give him honor. You know, just for helping you through, for shining the light on you and exposing you.
Yeah,
we would never have met you.
She's my role model. Besides my grandmother. My grandmother is my first role model.
And then
the second role model is called Flavia Chomokama.
Oh, wow.
Because when they read the article, different people tried to give me some small money to contribute. Then I studied for the first year in MOBS. I was doing finance. Then now the ED, for her she came because she wanted to support me on the HIV side, not financially, but to support me so that I become strong and make better decisions and so on. So that's how I got to get in touch with her. Then I also got in touch, I requested for a referral from Barra Hospital. Then I was taken to IDI, Infectious Diseases Institute. So at Infectious Diseases Institute, there are different programs that were there, which were empowering the youth, especially the youth who had self-pity, self-rejection, like everything that was happening to me. Yeah, but after that, I kept on learning. So you mean all this? I mean, I thought that in the whole world I was the only youth with HIV. You
found out there were many others.
Yeah.
And how did you become an advocate?
So we were about 50 in the clinic, but we didn't know each other because we were not together. So we suggested, and we were being treated like generally, like we go to pick medicines with old people, and then everyone is looking at you. You're too young. How did you get this? They begin judging you. Now you have started sleeping with men. That is what you went to look for. Yet, of course, some of them were born with it. Others got it the way I got it. Others had their own issues also. But most people used to judge us, thinking everybody gets HIV.
So this is how you decided to become a voice.
So through those programs, which were empowering me indirectly, because I didn't know that they were going to impact on me. That's how I got into public, and I started now advocating for youth programs internationally.
International, and you've traveled extensively.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
I've been to USA like 6 times. I've been to Austria, I've been to Australia, to UK.
Wow. Can you imagine? You left your step siblings who had everything and they were healthy. You left them back in the village, and you have been to America, you have been to Austria, you have been to Australia. My goodness.
No, actually what made me happier is that as I was growing up, right from the time I joined the family, they were saying that I'm going to be useless. Everybody, I don't know why.
And of course with what happened. But this is a beautiful ending. You are now an advocate, an international advocate. You are traveling the world. You are helping youth.
Yes.
The youth that are sick.
Yes, of course I learned so many things about how to live positively, how to help many other young people live positively. Those who were misbehaving think they are already positive. I helped to transform their decisions by making them change behavior, by taking them to the hospital. Some of them I reached an extent of escorting them to the hospital. I also helped more than, I think, like 4 people who were going to commit suicide. But when they heard me on the radio speaking, I think it was miraculous, because someone is going to climb the tall building to throw himself and herself down. But the heart tells him, first listen, look for some channel and you listen. And they land on me speaking. And after that, they listen, and they listen to the end. And the reason why they want to kill themselves is because they think they're HIV positive for some reason.
But now they can see that you are definitely HIV positive, and
I'm talking
and
about
you're talking,
it freely.
You are traveling from nation to nation.
Yes.
And
So
you have a beautiful baby boy right now.
Yes.
And you are expecting your second child. Your first child is negative because you have learned, you know what to do for your child to be negative.
Yeah.
And you know that your second child will be negative.
Of course.
Now, with a few minutes that we are left with, I want you to face the camera and advise these people. You can give them your number as well, so that they know where to find you. Yes. For counseling, but I want you to face the people camera and advise the people, especially the younger people that are living with HIV/AIDS. They are living secretly. They are refraining from taking drugs. The children that are traumatized by having wicked step-parents who have, just because they had one trauma in their life, they've given up on ever doing or being anything or anyone. I want you to give them a word of encouragement and tell them where they can find you, so that the moment they discover they're HIV positive, so that their life does not have to end with a bad story.
Yeah, and before I talk about what they can do, I want to talk about most of the challenges most of the young people are facing. Some of them are now looking for relationships. Remember, those who are born with HIV are not going to stay young. Even those who are growing with HIV, they are going to reach a point and they feel they need relationships, they feel they need children, they feel they need to live like any other person. And now that is where the challenge is. And most young people are refusing to disclose their status because of the same. Because they know that once they disclose their status, they are going to be rejected. And that's why most of the young people are going undercover
and
make sure that by the
spreading
time,
the virus.
not necessarily spreading, because when you're on treatment and you're undetectable, you cease from being infectious.
But these people who are hiding it are not even going for treatment because they fear to be seen.
That is where the problem is. If those ones who are not taking the treatment because they don't want to be seen, they are actually, they remain infectious and they are causing problems to themselves.
Okay.
That's why they have to take medicine consistently, so that they suppress the virus, so that they are not able to infect their partners.
So you said there is a fear of not being, that I won't be loved.
Yeah,
and you wanted to encourage them about that.
Yeah, but once you believe in yourself, I believe you will get the love that you're looking for. Others, because they have found out that there is no one who is going to love them, they are now trying to see how can they get children. So most of them are actually those guys who think the girls are okay, those ones who don't mind about testing. And they end up going with a girl because the person is beautiful, and they test with eyes, they confirm.
Test the blood.
Yeah, so the girl will come mainly looking for a child, whether it's infectious or not. And once she gets the child, she will go and take care of her child and leave you alone. So whether you have been infected or not, it's not her problem. Then the other one, the discrimination and stigma, the society we are living in, they are the ones who are making us make such ugly decisions, because some of them are beginning to tell us that because we've been on treatment for too long, that we have like breath that smells medicine, the sweat that we get from our bodies smells medicine, like the whole body smells medicine. And some people just tell you when they don't know that you're part of that group. And the expression that they show make you fail to disclose to another person. But when you disclose to someone, this person instead goes telling everyone, like if you meet some guy who is willing to date you, now this person you disclose to is going to go behind you and tell the other person that you're putting a bomb on yourself, not knowing that maybe I was ready to disclose to the guy, and he makes his own decision. I would really request that as long as you're negative, kindly stay negative. Try as much as possible to stay negative. Because even if I've lived for more than 20 years with HIV, life is not easy. We go through so much. So if you can still remain negative, try as much as possible to remain negative. Yeah, then there is some program called U equals U, that is undetectable equals untransmittable. But it is mainly known by people who are in the system, not the public. So if maybe the Ministry of Health and these other international and national research organizations put this kind of information out, maybe the discrimination and stigma will reduce, because the people will understand that the more you stay on treatment and you're adhering very well, even those ones who are on treatment will adhere well, because they will know that once I adhere well, I will not infect my partner.
You know, once your viral load is undetectable,
yes,
you are not able to infect. I think it takes a
yes,
lot of understanding and faith to even
yes,
believe that.
Yes.
So I think that is one of the things why the story hasn't gone around. But that's how you are able to have children that are not positive.
Yes.
Because
and that's why I was also able not to infect my partner.
Oh, your partner is not HIV positive.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
So once you discover that you're HIV positive, the best way is to accept to start treatment. Because some people even know that their status that they are positive, but they refuse to start medicine. Like I had a friend who refused to start medicine because for her she had wrong information that once she starts medicine, she's going to die. That is the wrong information that is in the community. So for them, they think that once you start medicine, you get heart attack and die. Yeah, but I've been on treatment close to 17 years. There are many who have been on treatment for more than 25 years, but they are still alive. So when you don't take that treatment, you're the one who's going to be killing yourself. So as soon as you get to know that you're positive, go and seek health care or get someone who can support you to go and access treatment and other services that are involved.
Wow.
Then you can get my number in case you need any support. You can get my number. It's 774 40 2074.
Wow. Thank you all for tuning in this afternoon. This is a story. It's not just a story of tenacity. It's not just a story of resilience. It is a story of faith. Faith calleth the things that are not as if they were. And when this young lady was in the village fighting for her life, in a household that didn't seem to care what happened to her, no one would have known that she would turn into the advocate that she is today, that she would traverse nations, that she would be a voice for the youth with HIV in this season and this time. With God, anything is possible. And never let your situation or your circumstance put you down. Please feel free to contact Jackie if you are living positively today. God bless you, and until next time, do stay blessed.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this program. Please like, comment, and subscribe to Pastor Jessica's YouTube channel. Oh, and don't forget to press the notification button so that you're notified whenever we upload a video. Also, you can follow Pastor Jessica on all of her social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under the handle of Pastor Jessica Kayanja. If you would like to contact Pastor Jessica Kayanja, please do so on 077-263-1603. And if you'd like to advertise with us, please don't hesitate to let us know.
That's all we could do for today. I do wish we had more time, but remember, it's a weekly program, so please do stay tuned for the next upload. I love you. I'll be praying for you, and bye.